Okay, so I can definitely tell I made a mistake there. This video is sponsored by Tomplay. Hey guys, if you haven't heard of it already, Tomplay is an amazing tool to help you practice and play with an accompaniment in real time with you. Personally, I am a very visually dominant learner, so the scrolling action in this sheet music app is perfect for showing me where I am in the music and also how to actually execute the rhythm. It actually feels like playing Flute Hero, especially when you use their new feature, the flute visual. When I was younger, when I would go to these in-person rehearsals with a pianist, I would get completely thrown off by the accompaniment. I don't actually process pitch changes and rhythm changes very well by ear. I know that comes as a huge surprise to a lot of you, considering that I am actually a professional musician, but that is the truth. With Tomplay scrolling through the music with a very obvious red line showing me where I am, I can follow along with where the red line is. Even if I feel like I'm being kind of thrown off, I can still play along because I know I'm where the red line is. I can see it. On the flip side, Tomplay is also fantastic for hearing dominant learners. With Tomplay, my hearing dominant students learn so fast. Otherwise, we can spend so long in lessons mathematically breaking down how these rhythms work. We can talk about the theory behind it all we want, but at the end of the day, they need to hear it. With our lessons, I only get to really play for them like an hour a week, and I'm not even playing all of the time during the lesson. So having something like this where they can hear what they're supposed to be playing, what they're supposed to be playing along with all the time when they're practicing on their own, oh my gosh, has been an absolute godsend. Tomplay includes scores for all levels, including easier arrangements for multiple songs for all flutists, including beginners. Of course I downloaded the Lord of the Rings in Dreams. And as you can see here, there's actually 3 different levels. There is an easy level, an easy/intermediate level, and a very easy level. If we go to very easy level, we gotta download it, give it a second to download, guys. We'll go in here just so we can show you what it looks like. So in here you can see that we're mainly around the lower register. Yeah, it doesn't go very high at all. It only goes up to a high A, it looks like. Yeah, and that's it. So nice and low, perfect for beginners. If we check the next one up, which is an easy level, this one I downloaded before. So this one also stays down low. Looks like it's extended though, as you can see, quite a bit longer with key changes. And also it goes quite a bit higher as well. And then there is the easy intermediate level, which I also need to download. Okay. So here you can see that we're starting up higher. This is actually the register that it is actually in the original score. See, we go all the way up to high E. Key changes, so the key changes are still there, but it's all generally higher. I also looked up some video game music too. I was very tickled to see that they had some Zelda in there. If you look around their library, you'll notice that Tomplay also offers pop, rock, and other film scores, as well as music for other instruments. So now, this is the fun part. I'm actually going to practice something that I have never practiced before, just so I can show you my process. I need to explain this whole setup too. When you hear the accompaniment, it's actually coming from the speaker here. I don't know if you guys can see, but yeah, it is on, as you can see. We wanted to do this to show you guys that this is actually what it's going to be like when you use it. The piece that we are going to be working on is the Undine Sonata. I don't know why, but in all of my years of playing the flute, I never studied this. I have heard the first movement, so I used the first movement to do a little test with recording and stuff like that, but I don't actually know the rest of them. Let's download. Okay, we're downloading it, so you guys know, okay? I have not actually looked at this. This is proof. Come on, last 5%. Okay, Here we go. So we're gonna choose flute and piano, just so I do have the accompaniment with me. Now, you'll notice that on this version, it doesn't have the flute visual. The more advanced pieces don't have the flute visual with them. By the time you're playing this music, you really don't need a flute visual. Or if you do. Anyway, I have no idea how this sounds. I have no idea how fast this is supposed to go. Let's give it a listen and see what I think. This is really interesting because I would never have gotten this if I was just studying the sheet music by itself. Most people don't look off of the full score, so you have no idea what the piano is doing. There was a bit of an echo effect. It starts right here. So we go be-yaw, and then the piano does it be-yaw, right? Like, I would not have known that. To me, like, if this was the music, right? Then like I wouldn't know that there's a piano part right there. So that's really, really helpful to know when you're playing this, because it makes you play with a very different intention. For the sake of time, I think what I will do is just practice the first 11 bars. Otherwise, guys, we're gonna be here for a while. Now I know that the piano part does this kind of like swoopy business underneath me, and I'm just this like lyrical songbird over top. This is basically your one-stop shop for listening to a quality recording of it and following along with the music. It literally like follows along for you. Let's make a loop. When we first start practicing this, we want to create our own score. So we're gonna do that. Well, let's just call this Undine practice. There we go. Okay, so we'll save that. Right now, we don't need to make any notes on it yet. If I press back, you'll see that the score here is now Undine practice. There we go. So you can either do it without annotations or your own annotations. So we've created our own layer on top of this, essentially, where we can write our own notes. When you're on your own practice score, you can press loop to loop certain sections. So it'll just kind of pop a loop in there. So we want to go from the beginning to drag it to, there we go. So we're gonna drag it there. What I have actually suggested to my own students, because I was testing this before and I found that this was the best way to practice. You play one loop first and then you play along, maybe like 2 times or something like that. And then what we're gonna do after that is turn off the flute part and see if we can just play with the accompaniment. Now, the reason why we're doing that is so that we can hear if there's any discrepancies between my playing and the recorded playing. And that is a really fast way to catch your mistakes. It can even find any blind spots that normally would only be caught in a lesson. You would catch it a lot sooner. Here we go. Let's try it out. I was imagining myself playing along with the recording that we just heard, and I noticed that I wanted to just play this F here. I just wanted to keep playing through it. So now I know that when I play along with this, I need to keep going. I need to catch that G in time. So I'm gonna keep that in mind as I try playing along this second time. Okay, not bad. I can tell that I am playing in the right rhythm with the right notes because I'm not really hearing much discrepancy between me and the recording. So now we're gonna just try just me playing with the piano. So we're going to have the audio only be piano. I'm gonna straight up tell you guys, I don't think normally I would have played with that much musicality right off the bat. I would not know to play it with this kind of very operatic sound. I think I would have tried to play this sweetly. You really do get a really good example of how the piece should actually be executed. Now, I did want to show you guys all the fun little annotations and the settings and stuff like that that you can do here. Let's just go from left to right. We've already covered this part. Now you can actually mess with the tempo. So let's say that this was way too fast for me to practice right off the bat. I would have lowered it down maybe like something like that. Now you'll see this little asterisk here that is telling you that that is not at the speed that the recording is in. And it gives you a little line right here to tell you where your target tempo actually is. This will actually slow down the music for you. It's great. I love that you can do that. I noticed that my hearing dominant learners in my studio really need to hear the music at a practice speed. You can tell them to practice slow all you want, but if the version of the piece that is stuck in their head is the one at tempo, they are gonna wanna play at tempo. They will play what they hear in their heads. So I love that Tomplay does this where it actually slows down the recording so they can hear a practice tempo version of the piece that they are practicing. It is fantastic. If we go here, you can see, you guys can see my little close-up camera here. I think showing the sheet music on your video as you're playing is extremely helpful. You can look at this afterwards and find where you make a mistake, and you can actually see where it is in the music. That way you don't have to go hunting and searching for where you actually made the mistake. A lot of times where we think we made a mistake is not actually where we made a mistake. It just doesn't occur to us that something has gone kind of wrong until after it has happened. This happens all the time. Okay, so I can definitely tell I made a mistake there. Ooh, that sounded really wrong. See right there? You can see where the red line is. So I'm like, okay, like at that note, I know I hit a very wrong note. You can mess with the latency and make your recording and the backing track actually line up. Let's show you guys where this saves to. So let's call this wrong note. All right, there we go. We'll save. It's getting saved, Save. Okay, so now you can share it. Let's show you guys where it is stored. So if we go back to our library, you'll notice that now here it says My Recordings. It actually saves your recordings right underneath where the sheet music is stored in your library. You don't have to go looking for it in another folder or anything. It's just super easy to find. So if we expand that, you'll see here, you can just click play and you can play it right here. You can also just do an audio recording if you wanted to. Works pretty much exactly the same way. It's just that I find that with video, it's easier to actually see where you went wrong. By the way, there is a tuning fork here, so you can actually tune to different notes if you want to. Pretty fantastic. And also there is the metronome here. Pretty convenient. I do like that on a speaker, you can jack up the volume like crazy if you wanted to. So if that floats your boat, do it. All right, this is the fun part. This is the annotation part. So if you wanted to annotate, you can actually click and drag. So for me, for example, we remember, right, this G here. I apparently didn't want to play it. So you don't even have to draw a circle. You can just drag a circle on it. You can just straight up pick it up and drop it off wherever you want to. It's really quite fantastic. We can erase that though. I just wanted to show you a bunch of the other different things that you can grab. If I forgot that that is a G, I can just drag G there. Sharps, flats, naturals. This one I can see myself using a lot. For example, as we noted that I played an extremely wrong note. So like what I would do is like put a little sharp right there to remind me that that is a sharp. I would probably also put it right there. You can also just straight up draw in here. So you can pick whichever color you want. And yeah, there we go. You can highlight things. This is also really quite nice. So let's say you wanted to highlight that, you can highlight it like that. You can also just straight up add text wherever you want. F sharp, you know, well, I'm really going to remember this is supposed to be an F sharp now, you know, and then you can use this to click and drag it wherever you want it to go. So I want it to go there and I want it to be red, and then we'll press the check mark. There we go. We definitely know that is an F sharp. You can also add, I like to liken these notes to like sticky notes that you can expand or minimize depending on if you wanted to read the notes on there. So just to show you how that works, we can add, so this is your sticky note basically. Let's put here wrong note, okay? And then in the body of it, we will put it's an F sharp. There we go. That's our little post-it note, all right? And we can put it right here. If we click on it, you see that it is now minimized. If we click on it, it will expand it. Now we're in editing mode right now, so it brought up the keyboard here. But if we were to go back, this is our own practice score. So if we click on that, it will expand our little post-it note. And if we click it again, it will minimize it. So really useful if you wanted to write longer notes, but you didn't want it to take up all the space in the world. This is definitely something that you can only do digitally. There's some other really fun settings in here. You can change the way that it looks, so it doesn't have to be pages, it can just be vertical, so it'll just keep scrolling down. You can hide your cursor if you want to, you can hide the toolbar, you can hide even the title of this, you can adjust the pitch. This is very key because different parts of the world actually tune to different standards. You can also change the latency if you're listening to it and you're playing along with it and it just doesn't seem to line up really well with you. This is particularly useful for like if you're using Bluetooth speakers or something like that. I'm actually using a wire right now, which is why I don't have latency. The count off can either be visual or audio. Right now it is audio. The visual are just a few dots that show up. So I'll just show you really quickly what that looks like. This number corresponds to how many measures they're going to count you off for. So we'll save that and then I'll just start playing this so you can see the visual. There we go. So for some people, they will find that more useful than the audio clicking. Choose whichever one floats your boat. There you have it. That is Tomplay. It is an amazing, amazing tool. In truth, I was actually really tickled to see Tomplay reaching out to me to do this sponsored video when I had actually heard of them for a while and I had already encouraged my students to use their app. If you would like to support me, you can use my Tomplay affiliate link, which is linked below. There is a special back to school discount happening as this video is uploaded that will last until I believe it's September 12th. You guys don't have a lot of time, but I believe it is a 30% discount on your Tomplay subscription. After September 12th, you'll still get a 14-day free trial with my affiliate link. Thank you again, Tomplay, for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! I don't think this is... Hello, love.
I was trying to be quiet. I was going to ask if I made rice and maybe too loud.
No, you can just make rice. This is totally going in the blooper reel.
Wow.